Well, Allie and Eric, here we are to talk about your movie Bad Boys. And this is your film debut, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but you're a veteran. How many films have you done by now?
This is my second.
Yes, okay, but you've done television before,
Yeah.
Right. Eric, I'm sure you're aware that this film is going to be controversial, and a lot is going to be written about it, and the violence and so forth and so on. But as a young person yourself, if you were to go see this movie, and not as an actor, just as a young person, what would be your comments about the violence?
Well, I think it's nothing more than realistic. It might even be less than realistic. And, I think that the teens of today are not that concerned with the violence. They're the ones who are paying to see the horror movies, and they're the ones who are paying to see all the violent movies that are out, and it doesn't bother them that much. Because I think in a way they realize more than the older generation that, hey, it's only a movie. It's not real life. They don't realize that consciously, but subconsciously I think they can understand that. I don't think the reaction to the violence in kids my age is going to be that bad.
How old are you now?
16.
When you were filming at the correctional institution, did you have a chance to talk with some of the inmates there?
Yeah.
And what kinds of things were you curious to find out from them, Eric?
Well, I was pretty much wondering what their daily life was like inside the facility. What happened between the time they woke up and the time they went to sleep. Because those are things you never know, and that's, when you're playing a character who's in the prison, that's the kind of thing that he would know. It's just, you got to find out all the little insights as how do they feel about the guards and the supervisors, and all little things like that.
What would they tell you?
Told me some things I couldn't say here. They told me, it's a routine. They do a little of this. They get forced to jog a little bit, and they get to work in the wood shops. They have some nice facilities there. They have a wood crafting place and a mechanic shop. It's the facilities itself are nice. It's a nice facility.
What was your awareness, though, as far as you'd look at those young people, and then the thoughts that you would have for yourself? What would they be like?
Well, the thing is, when you go in there, and you're talking to these people, they don't come across as criminals. They don't come across as the guy who murdered 2 cops or whatever. They just come across as people until you finally get to the question, what are you here for? And they say, well, I killed 2 people. And you say, they don't wear a little badge that says, hi, I'm a murderer. So it's not that obvious. It's not that kind of obvious thing that they show off, that they're tough and that they murder people. It's more subtle, it's more low-key, and that's how I tried to play the character.
Do you feel that those people, those young men, when they get out, are they going to go lead good lives, or are they going right back into their old patterns?
It's all up to them. They can try to rehabilitate you, but if you don't want to be rehabilitated, you're not going to be. And if you want to be, it doesn't take too much guidance for you to be rehabilitated. You know what I mean? So it's all really up to them.
Allie, let's get you into the conversation here. As you were making this film, your background is so entirely different. Private schools and a sheltered life, so to speak. When you were making this film, did it upset you?
You mean the violence in it?
I mean just the whole atmosphere of that kind of life.
No, it didn't really, because it didn't take me by surprise so much. I've grown up in New York City, and all you have to do is walk down the street, and you can see the kind of violence that exists, kind of anger and fear that exists in kids everywhere. And I can understand some of the pain and some of the feelings I think it could drive kids just to survive, in this world. Some people just go a little farther with that than others, I think. But it's upsetting that that's the way the world kind of is,
Have you ever been in a life-threatening situation, Allie?
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
life-threatening situation. I've been followed. I've been mugged. I've been kind of harassed just around here, and it's not the kind of life-threatening situation where you're in an automobile crash or anything like that, but or getting really sick, but the kind of thing where somebody's threatening you. You know, yeah, I've been in that position before, and it's real frightening.
Did you react in those real situations the same as you react in the movie when you're attacked?
When we were doing the scene where I was going to be raped, I didn't know. I was trying to think, how am I going to get ready to do this? What is it going to be like? Well, I didn't know because I've never been raped, so I couldn't really think what would it feel like, you know. But when we were actually doing it, I began to get a kind of idea what it would be like if you really got raped, and began to get afraid, and my whole body started freezing up. I felt nothing inside, almost complete numbness. And I know that when I get in situations where I'm really scared, I just freeze up. You know, the same kind of thing happens. And this was a different one. It's a kind of a really just an empty void inside, you know.
That particular scene, did you film that like all day? I mean, you were in that sort of mood all day long?
It was 3 nights that they had to film it, and then they didn't get everything they wanted, so a few weeks later we had to go back and do more of it again. It was very technical when we were doing it, because we were taking punches and, you know, running down the street to a certain place and hitting marks, but when we were actually doing it, it was the middle of the night under the railroad tracks, so all of a sudden it got really kind of terrifyingly real, you know. It was a strange experience.
Well, it's a very real scene on the screen and a very terrifying scene on the screen. Well, thank you both for talking with us today, and we'll see what happens when the film hits the screens here in a few weeks. Thank you both.
Thanks.
Thanks.